Welcome to this study style session for subcategory 3B Czech Premium Pale Lager. We are continuing category 3 Czech Lager. And again, if you've not seen that first video, these are typically hard to find beers. Although I say that in the one category that's probably the easiest to find, but wanted to mention that because if you're not finding a commercial example, make sure you go and check out that first video that opened the style study session to see how we're going to combat that, because that will be coming up here very soon. But for this one, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. We're not too far away from that part. What we do need to start with, are the vital statistics for 3B Czech Premium Lager. So let's start there. The original gravity range is 1.044 to 1.060. Final gravity range is 1.013 to 1.017. IBU range is 30 to 45. SRM range is 3.5 to 6. That's a very specific starting range. And the ABV range is 4.2 to 5.8%. All right, overall impression for Czech Premium Pale Lager. A refreshing pale Czech lager with considerable malt and hop character and a long finish. The malt flavors are complex for a Pilsner type beer. The bitterness is strong and clean, but lacks harshness, which gives a well-balanced, rounded flavor impression that enhances drinkability. Okay, now for the items, the characteristics we're going to be evaluating this beer against in the guidelines, starting with aroma. Medium to medium high, bready rich malt, and medium low to medium high spicy, floral, or herbal hop bouquet. Though the balance between the malt and hops may vary, the interplay is rich and complex. Light diacetyl or very low fruity esters are optional. Esters tend to increase with gravity. Appearance, it reads medium low to deep gold color, brilliant to very clear clarity, dense, long-lasting, creamy white head. On to flavor. Rich, complex, bready maltiness combined with a pronounced yet soft, rounded bitterness and floral and spicy hop flavor. Malt and hop flavors are medium to medium high. The malt may contain a slight impression of caramel. Bitterness is prominent but never harsh. The long finish can be balanced towards hops or malt, but is never aggressively tilted either way. Light to moderately light diacetyl or low hop-derived esters are acceptable, but need not be present. Okay, I got a kick out of that phrase, apparently. Okay, finally, mouthfeel, short and sweet, medium body, medium to low carbonation. And, of course, we do have commercial examples for this beer. Again, they're on the screen right now. There's a few more in this I can pronounce, but I can't pronounce them all, so I'm not going to attempt that. Again, out of respect for the beers, I don't want to slaughter their names on this video and this recording. However, there's one on here I'm reasonably sure almost every beer fan recognizes or has had and probably have now in preparation for this study style session, and I have it as well. It is Pilsner Urquell. That's probably, of all of the four sub-styles in category 3, that's probably the one that is most available. I'm not quite sure what exact word I'm looking for, but it seems to be almost everywhere I've been. I don't actively look for it. I just noticed that it's available. So if there's at least one commercial example you're going to try, it's most likely this one right here. That's what I have. I bought it in a 6-pack. I have been enjoying a few before this, so I kind of have a little bit of I don't know what's the word they're looking for, a little bit of a history with it already going into this, but I'm still happy. I haven't drank them with the strict evaluation I'm going to have for the score sheet. So I do have, that's a correct one. Yep, 3B, the Premium Pale. I have the study card here, but before I read that, let me crack this open, give it a pour, and see what I find, and then compare. So it's become a tradition now to open that cap near the microphone so we can all enjoy that sound. All right, I'm remembering to pour in front of the camera this time, or at least attempting to. Doing a bit of an aggressive pour. And, all right. So, appearance-wise, wow, oh my gosh, I don't know. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can, because I can see me through it. That is clear. That is a clear beer. That head didn't quite get as large as I thought it was going to, but that's probably because of the way I was pouring, but it has not moved a bit, has not dropped at all since pouring. So that is a lingering head right there in the color. That is gold. That is a little lighter than gold, but in that gold range. All right, let's get on to aroma. Now, I was curious, since this is so far of the bottles I've had out of the 6-pack, this is obviously the oldest bottle, technically, by days or maybe even a week or so. One thing I've always had happen, or experience is a better word, with Pilsner Urquell is that light struck character that we had with a previous beer. I'm not going to call it out. You've seen the video. I used to always get that with Pilsner Urquell. I have not gotten it in any of the beers in this pack. So I think it's either being treated better when it gets to the place that I typically buy beer, or I got one as fresh as the freshest I've ever gotten it from their shelves. And I'm happy about that because I don't have to talk about that light struck character. What I am going to talk about are the first thing I get is the floral, even a little herbal, even a little, just a touch, almost spicy hop aroma. I get the hop aroma first. Underneath that, I get the sweet malt base. I get a little bit of the grainy character, not real bready, but kind of that kind of like what I would typically, what's the word I'm looking for? Attribute to Pilsner malts. Not saying they use that. I don't know what they've used, but if that's what I would equate it to, that grainy aroma. And very clean fermentation. Unlike the pale lager, that distinct lager fermentation aroma from lager yeast is not at all here. It's all hops and malts, and everything behind that's clean. So there's for the fermentation character, it's very clean. All right, let's go to flavor. First thing I notice, right on the tongue and the palate, top of my roof of my mouth, that sweet malty base I talked about. The second I start swallowing it, bam, I get that nearly same bitterness I got in the pale Czech lager or Czech Pale Lager. Firm, distinctive, not aggressive, not harsh, but very smooth, very pleasant. Very pleasant. But I would say that comes out a little later than the last one, just for comparison. Along with that sweet malt, I get a little bit of a hint of a floral hop character. And that graininess as well. I would say it's more, as far as the malt character goes, it's sweeter than sorry, there's something on the cup and now it's on my finger. It's more sweet malt forward than that graininess, but the graininess is there as well. Mouthfeel. It's light, medium light. It's not quite all the way to light, but it's not quite medium. I'd say it's medium light. Carbonation is on point. It's moderate, not too over carbonated for sure, and definitely not too little. There's a slight texture to it that's actually quite pleasant as well. All right, how does that compare to what I should be finding this beer? So aroma, medium to medium high, bready, rich malt. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't get quite bready. I got more grainy. Medium low to medium high, spicy floral herbal hop. Yep, medium, I would say. Light diacetyl, very low fruity esters optional. I didn't get any of that. Appearance, medium yellow to deep gold. It's gold, brilliant to very clear. That is brilliantly clear. Dense, long-lasting, creamy white head. I will say the texture of it was dense. It was not a large head, but it doesn't say large head, so I guess that's right. Dense, long-lasting, and it's starting to fall now, but I also drank, 3/4 of the sample I poured, if not more, so most of that actually was probably swallowed. So I think that was right on. Flavor, medium to medium high, rich, complex, bready, maltiness. Wow, okay. Maybe my palate gets graininess from breadiness. I'm not quite getting bready. I'm getting more grainy. Soft, round bitterness, medium to medium high floral, spicy hop. Yep, bitterness pronounced but not harsh. Yes, I would agree with that. Low to moderate, low to acid on low, esters acceptable. Didn't really get any of that. Not even really. Didn't get any of that. Mouthfeel, medium bodied. It's a little, I would say it's a little lighter than medium. Medium to low carbonation, or moderate to low carbonation. Moderate, I think, is the word I actually use. So, all right. If you don't know the drill by now, I am going to pause this video. I'm going to grab a BJCP standard beer score sheet. Going to fill it out for this beer. When I come back, I will unpause the recording, go over that. I would like you to do the same with whatever beer you have that represents this style. Fill out a score sheet for it, whether it be off a style or a different commercial example, let's do that together, get our practice in, and come back and talk about it. So pausing right now. Alrighty, I am back. I've got my completed score sheet. I hope you do as well. And I'm about to make some enemies in the world of beer, but that ain't the first time. Okay, let's talk about that. So, starting off with aroma, I have clean fermentation character, sweet malt with supporting grainy character, medium light floral, sweet pollen-like notes, sorry. An extremely faint, sweet, pear-like aroma that comes out as the head dissipates and the sample warms up, and I gave it a 9 out of 12. Appearance, light gold to gold color, brilliant clarity, low but dense, moussey white head on pour that lingered through most of the sampling. Gave that a 3 out of 3. On to flavor. Sweet base malt character on the tongue and palate initially. A smooth, distinct, pleasant bitterness into the finish that lingers in the aftertaste. A light, grainy character. A moderate floral hop flavor that increases as the sample warms up. And I gave that a 15 out of 20. On mouthfeel, medium light in body, a moderate carbonation level. A light but pleasant creamy texture, no noticeable alcohol warmth, no astringency. Carbonation provides a pleasant carbonic bite and welcome texture, and I gave that a 5 out of 5. Overall impression, a very clean beer. Hop bitterness is on point and very pleasant. Malt character is sweet and grainy, but lacks the bready notes expected. Hop flavor comes across as floral with a hint of noble hop spiciness. The expected bready malt character is lacking. The additions of malt or higher mashing temperatures may elevate this beer, and I gave that a 7 out of 10, giving it a 39 out of 50, which is still excellent. But I felt when I wrote that, that's where I made the joke. I'm going to make some enemies in the world of beer. But and that's the score I came up with, and it's beer judging is very specific to the person. Event or task, or the word is bouncing around in my head. Exercise. So it is what it is, but it also is a imported beer. And even though it wasn't light struck, doesn't mean it was treated the best that it possibly could. So could be the bottle. Basically, I'm trying to hedge all my bets so people don't yell at me in the comments about giving a Pilsner Urquell 39 out of 50, because I know it's a very well-regarded beer. This bottle was a 39 out of 50. Doesn't mean the whole beer is. And, just to go through the final bits there, there's where I circled everything. And I think that might be one of the first times where I had a high-scoring beer that I didn't rate it all the way at the top, because I think it just falls short. 1 point of being a classic example. I think that graininess character and the sweet malts are just not the malts that should be in this beer, from what I've studied from the guidelines, and I'm judging against the guidelines. Not a bad beer. Still have some now. Going to have a little sip. And one that I just purely enjoy as a beer without judging it. So regardless of the score I gave it or the overall experience, I did put the experience in. I got the work done, so to speak. I wrote my score sheet. I evaluated the beer. I know what I want in this style as far as I know it, and I know what to look for if I get this on my judging exam. And that's what these are really about. These are not about finding the perfect example of the beer and knowing it. Don't get me wrong. That helps when you find it, but that is not what this is about. This is about getting the practice in, getting to know the beers, getting to know how the beer is like the style and how it isn't. And this one just surprisingly worked more towards not being the perfect example I thought it was going to be. And I think that's probably a good exercise, not having that personal bias of knowing this should be a perfect example, but not scoring it a 49 or 50. So I hope you had a similar experience. I certainly hope you got the practice in at the very least. We got more to come, including more in category 3. We're going on to 3B, which is a Czech Amber Lager. That's the next video. So I will see you there.